Hello everyone, Adrian here. I wanted to create my version of an English afternoon tea and of course make it vegan, and I was going to invite some people over and we were going to enjoy it together. I was going to put together a whole spread. Um, I can't invite people over because we're still doing the social distancing and keeping to our homes. So I'm going to show you how I do the sandwiches, and I'm going to put together a little bit of an afternoon tea for myself, and I'm going to share that with you. Um, I probably will revisit this later and do um, the more elaborate version that I was hoping to do once we can all gather together and be a little bit more social in the future. But here we go with the sandwiches. For the first sandwich, I'm going to make a chickpea salad sandwich. And that's something you could think of it as being like a chicken salad or an egg salad or something like that. You'll see it's very similar to that. It's a mayonnaise dressing, and we've got the chickpeas, and I have just celery here, which I'm going to chop up, and I'm going to add to this. Now, one of the first things that you want to do with this, once you've drained the chickpeas out of the can, this is just a normal can. They're usually around 15 ounces of chickpeas, and you want to start mashing them up with a fork. So now you're not going for pureed chickpeas here. You just want to mash them up. You want to leave them in chunks. I do generally like to crush at least every one of the beans so that it is a somewhat smoother texture, but you also want to have something to bite into when you've got the final product here. So to the chickpeas, I added my chopped celery. I've also added salt, pepper. I added some onion powder, and I added celery salt. Now, instead of the onion powder, you could actually add a finely minced bit of onion. I just decided to go with the onion powder this time because it was a little bit easier. And now I'm going to add my mayonnaise substitute. This is called Vegenaise. I'm using the reduced fat. You can use whichever one you like. There's a bunch of other vegan mayonnaise substitutes out there. I happen to really like this Vegenaise product. It's probably my favorite. And then I'm also going to add a little dab of Dijon mustard. At this point, we're just going to mix this all up together, and that's going to be our sandwich filling. I've chosen a multigrain sandwich bread here. There's a little bit of something on the top of the crusts, but with the tea sandwiches, you always cut off the crusts anyway, so it kind of doesn't matter what's on the crusts. That's all going to get removed when you serve it. So here's my final product here. Obviously, this is far more than you need for a single sandwich. It's actually going to get you quite a few sandwiches. You can also save it to serve, a scoop of it with your lettuce salad, or you can even just eat this with crackers or something like that. It's a good sort of all-purpose light meal. And it's, obviously since it's got the chickpeas, it's full of protein and fiber and all sorts of good stuff here. You might have a temptation to pile it high, make a real thick filling for this sandwich, but that's actually going to work against you once you cut it up into the smaller sandwiches, because then they don't stick together as well. So just keep it as a nice, relatively thin filling, and then we're going to cut off the crusts on this one and cut it in half. You can also do triangles, that's also traditional, but I'm going to do the bars, as I think they call it. That last sandwich was simple, this one is even simpler. I'm going to do a cucumber sandwich. There are a number of different ways to do cucumber sandwiches. I'm just showing you the way that I usually use, but you'll see a lot of variations. One of the things that I do is that I peel my cucumbers first, and then I chop them up into these thins. And this is how I put together cucumber sandwiches. I've got a vegan butter substitute here, Earth Balance, and on the other side I have the Vegenaise again, same Vegenaise that I showed you in the other. I'm using a spread on the bread for these. I didn't use it for the chickpea salad because that already had Vegenaise in the salad itself. So at this point we are going to spread our cucumbers on here. You don't want to stack them on top of one another or to do so very minimally because cucumber on cucumber, they tend to slide around. And so if you want them to stick together, you need to actually just do a single layer with as little overlapping as possible. At this point, I am also going to put some salt, just a very small amount of salt, sprinkled over all of these cucumbers. So here's my final version for this very casual and rather simple afternoon tea. I have this is the chickpea salad sandwich, alternating with the cucumber sandwich, and I have some cake that I made earlier, and of course I've got tea. So this is a very simple setup. As I said, I'm going to probably revisit this at some point in the future, make this a little bit more elaborate, make some fancier desserts, probably make some English style scones, and I actually even found a recipe for a veganized version of clotted cream, so we can have even the traditional setup for scones, which would be the cream and jam, the preserves. So I'm going to enjoy my little afternoon tea here, and if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you think someone else would enjoy it, then please share and also subscribe to my channel. Thank you.